Guys, welcome back to Vampire Folklore. So today I'm going to visit the Vampire Chronicles and in particular the interview with the Vampire TV series from AMC. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely loved this series. I mean, I genuinely didn't think I was going to like it from the way the changes to the show were portrayed online so negatively. But when I actually sat down and watched the first episode, it just worked. Everything worked. Now, there are still some who didn't take to the show, and that's okay, but it was a breath of fresh air for me. If you haven't seen it, then I'd suggest watching it before watching this video. There's 7 episodes, take a look. Anyway, there is a moment in the story where Louis and Lestat have a huge fight after Claudia asked Louis to leave Lestat for good and come away with her. Louis and Lestat were in what seemed to be a committed and loving relationship. Lestat loved Louis to the point that he would not allow anyone or anything to come between them. Louis, despite being able to see into the darkness surrounding Lestat's soul, he still loved him regardless, and I think he knew part of him would feel incomplete without his maker by his side. Louis tried to stop Lestat, and in turn, the latter turned his complete and total wrath on Louis instead of Claudia. Lestat displayed just how powerful he truly was when he quickly overturned Louis' initial successful attack. The scene was quite graphic. I mean, Lestat absolutely wiped the floor with his lover. He beat Louis to a pulp and just didn't seem to stop. It was like all of his insecurities at losing Louis consumed him, and he made him pay for it. There's a shot of Lestat dragging Louis behind him, and it's really numbing. Like, I almost didn't know how to feel watching it. Whether it was implied or not, I don't know, but it definitely reflected what seems to be domestic violence. One partner physically stronger than the other and beats them into check. Not to mention that at this point Louis was trying to sustain himself on animal blood, so was further physically weakened. And just when you think Lestat was finished with his assault, he uses his flying ability to carry Louis to what seems to be at least 400 to 500 feet in the air before allowing him to free fall to his doom. If Louis had been human, then he'd be long dead, but he survived the fall, barely, and I mean barely. Also, vampires heal in the Vampire Chronicles universe, but they don't heal as rapidly as other vampires from other franchises. They heal quicker than most humans do, but broken bones, cuts, slashes, bruises, they do take time. It took poor Louis quite some time to feel himself again. Don't forget, it's Lestat's brute strength that was delivering these blows. The question is, of course, why he almost brought Louis to the brink of death. Well, let's take a look. Lestat was a very intelligent vampire, but when Louis came into his life, his mindset began to weaken. His passionate love for Louis made him vulnerable at times, breaking him as a person mostly, or the person he once used to be. The only reason for such a vague situation was that Louis could never reciprocate Lestat's love with the same passion. Louis was not happy being a vampire. It's why he held on to his humanity for so long, because it was closer to who he wanted to be, rather than embrace his vampire nature. In the beginning, he was impressed with the incredible power and the magical attributes that come with being a vampire, but as time progressed, he felt disappointed as the novelty, so to speak, began to wear off. Louis was rejected by his family and friends. He even felt responsible for the disastrous situation of his own people in the town. However, every piece of guilt he once felt began to fade away, and in its place was a hatred for Lestat. Louis was never desperate to leave his mortal life the way many vampires, who as humans originally sought to change for. Claudia was the only remaining link he had to his humanity. When she departed too, Louis was left with nothing but a void inside him. Yes, he had Lestat, his lover, with him at all times, but he could never stop thinking about Claudia, all the while resenting his maker, all the while still loving him, all the while knowing that he would never escape what seemed to be an immortal prison. So when Claudia came back and then suggested to Louis that he should leave Lestat and come away with her, Louis actually wanted to do it. He thought it was what he needed. He could be with the person he loved, but without the price of being vulnerable, like a relationship. He had no affection left for Lestat. Therefore, when Lestat sensed that Claudia was aggressively contacting Louis through their psychic abilities, he was furious. Something that greatly frustrated him further was the fact that, as their makers, Lestat could not listen to the conversation Claudia and Louis were having through their psychic abilities. He thought that Claudia was manipulating Louis to leave him forever, which actually may be the truth. He also knew that Louis' mindset had changed. He He knew that he wasn't the same person. He also knew how unhappy Louis was as he resulted in doing things to make his lover jealous, but it had little effect on Louis. So Lestat attacked Claudia to stop her from manipulating the man he loved. He was trying to give Louis the sister he lost when making Claudia, as it was a sacrifice of becoming a vampire that Louis had to leave his family. The thing is, it worked almost too well for Lestat as Claudia became more important to him. Lestat, on the other hand, chose Louis because he was madly in love with him. He is extremely possessive of Louis, even following him for hours at times. So, when Claudia was trying to remove Louis from his life, Lestat could not tolerate it. Louis tried to stop him and they had a huge fight, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Lestat was obviously stronger than Louis. Lestat wanted to make Claudia believe that she was responsible for the pain that Lestat caused to Louis. Before her arrival, Louis and Lestat were living peacefully, if not happily. Lestat wanted to set an example for Claudia that if she ever tried to snatch Louis away from him, it would not be a good decision at all. He was obsessed with Louis, as I said, but he also knew that Louis never really loved him the way he loved Claudia. A lover's obsession like this can only lead to pain for one side of the party. They won't let the other person go. Lestat would keep Louis as long as possible, doing whatever necessary in order to make him stay, even if it meant beating him to the brink of death. Lestat knew the damage he'd done, and in turn, he actually shot himself in the foot because he gave Louis a legitimate reason to leave him now, something that Louis didn't have before. Well, not something that Lestat could accept anyway. By harming Louis, by hurting Louis, he had no objection to his lover's departure and instead had to grovel to him for the best part of 7 years. It was only through Lestat's persistence did Louis finally break and reunite with him. 7 years of groveling is a really long time, especially when it appeared as if Lestat would continue to have his apologetic advances rebuffed. The truth is that he would have never stopped. I said 7 years of groveling was a long time, but 7 years in general for a vampire, well, that's like months or days to us humans. The point is, Lestat got back in there. He got his Louis back, but with a kind of unwanted bonus that I'm not sure neither vampire would have appreciated. What's this bonus? Well, Louis knows the full extent of Lestat's wrath. He knows how bad it can get. He knows what Lestat can do to him, and he knows that when it comes to spending an eternity together, it will more than likely happen again. Lestat knows this, and what's worse is he knows that Louis knows this, which as a result will most likely lead to an additional insecurity within Lestat that he won't get the Louis of old, or all of Louis, all of his being, all of his heart. He's now afraid it's not going to be the same. He needs to ensure that he will be the only focus of Louis' attention, which is why he now targets Claudia, as she is a massive distraction. Almost killing Louis, although awful, is just another example of Lestat creating an uneven power dynamic. Lestat is a possessive companion in every incarnation of his character. Sam reads Lestat admits that he fears abandonment, and his actions portray intense fear. With the obvious advantage of his age and strength aside, Lestat quickly establishes his first uneven power dynamic in his teaching of vampire life. Although he appears to be a helpful mentor at first, he withholds useful information from Louis and later Claudia, presumably to keep them in the dark about other vampires or vampire powers. He actually enjoys it by doing so, leaving them dependent on Lestat and feeling isolated. Most notably, Lestat withholds the ability to fly, something that not every vampire can learn, but something he uses to deliver that crushing physical blow to Louis before dropping him, like a final, here's something else I never taught you, and bam. With that being said, everyone, that is today's video on why Lestat almost killed Louis. As you all know, Lestat is a character that just draws out a love-hate relationship within him. Sometimes I think he's awesome, and sometimes I think he's an absolute asshole. Be sure to give this video a like, as it helps my content grow. And if you want to join the Vampire Folklore family, then all you gotta do is hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. Thanks again, and I will see you all very soon.